Welcome to the Continental. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Is this the dagger?
Welcome to the Continental. I'm your host, Adam Mack, and today we got a very special pod that's also 2 weeks behind schedule because we've had an intense 3 weeks of NBA playoff bubble basketball. And I'm not going to lie, I was slightly distracted, and I'm sure the guests of the pod today were as well because it was insane. And unfortunately, we're going to have to pour one out a little bit for the former reigning NBA and champions Toronto Raptors for an exhilarating series. But we'll save that for another podcast. I want to start off with our guests who have given their time, and I'm really grateful for having them on because the Continental is kind of boring when it's just by myself. But when we have returning guests like Rod, our NBA basketball aficionado, the family member with the best, slickest top Shaq lookalike haircut, but the worst imitation James Harden below look, we got Rod. Thank you, Rod, for joining again for the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We also got for a guest, another special guest, but he might be more well known to all of you out there in the Toronto media scene, and definitely in the Canadian NBA basketball media scene, because he's been a special guest on the NBA XXL Canada. He has his own podcast, The Drop. He also, or actually that's more a video clip, Drop. He has his own podcast, The Understudy. He's formerly and still known as Joe is the New Black. And you might know his work from Schitt's Creek. We got Joseph Amio.
Cue the applause. Cue the applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, fellas, for joining me on this podcast today. It's a pleasure to have you as a guest of the Continental, as always. And as we talked about earlier, you're on because I know you're some of the most intense basketball followers over the last 25 years. We're not that old, fortunately, so we can stick it to the 25 years. But it's been an crazy NBA bubble experience, and I thought since we're about to reach the NBA conference finals, I thought we would do a quick preview of the East versus West. And I thought our audiences would love to hear from two awesome experts today. So I think
So we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler versus Jamal Murray already?
Well, you know what? When I was planning this podcast, I was honestly thinking, I'm like, what the heck happened with the Western Conference semifinal? I thought it was going to end tonight, and then we would actually have a conference preview to talk about. Except they decided to completely ignore the Monday night because we all know that the football's kicking off again, and they're doing it on a Tuesday. So we actually have a 5-team technical preview because we don't know what's going to happen with the LA Clippers and Denver Nuggets. And considering what happened with the last game between LA Clippers and Denver Nuggets, I honestly can't put past anything with Denver. Nothing short of even Jamal Murray going off for 60 points is possible in that game with Kawhi taking 50 shots. It's also a possibility. Honestly, I have no clue. So actually, I think that kicks us off to a very good start. Let's start with the Western Conference and the two potential matchups that could happen there for the conference finals. Since we already started, you could either have the LA Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets. Please, audience, don't close the video because Denver's actually a really good team. It's actually, or you could have the LA Clippers and the LA Lakers. Yes, hopefully that picks up on some algorithm and somebody else sees this. But it's two crazy, intriguing matchups, and let's start with your thoughts, Rod. Let me start with you. What do you think about those two potential matchups? I think they're going to be pretty interesting. But what do you think?
Well, I love Denver. I mean, the way they've come back in this series, and even the last series against the Jazz, it's been crazy how Jokic and Murray and all those guys have stepped up. But I like storylines too, and LA versus LA, you can't miss that storyline. Kawhi versus LeBron. That'll be epic, at least for the headlines.
Well, you saw, was it Max Kellerman and Stephen A. calling out Kawhi, I think, today on First Take, saying, Kawhi, LeBron's waiting for you. Lala needs its epic matchup. So I agree. What about you, Joe? What would you prefer to see, and what do you think is interesting out of those two possibilities?
Oh, part of me wants to see good old Canadian Jamal Murray against LeBron, but I think everyone wants to see Kawhi and LeBron go at it. But whether we see it is another story, because that last game was an epic collapse. From up double digits to losing by double digits is a big swing.
You know what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't say this enough, and I know it's going to be hard to find somebody to disagree, but what the heck, right? With the Clippers, yeah. I'm not going to lie, but when you're talking Game 6 closeout, what are you gonna do? It's different if you got blown out from the beginning. All right, we all know this. Hey, Raptors Game 6 last year, Philly. They farted one in Philly. It is what it is, right? Yeah. But you up 19 at half, and you're supposed to be the best one of the best defenses in the league.
I don't know. A lot of it's got to be on Doc Rivers, because he could have substituted some more. He could have subbed out some guys and have more defensive. Like as much as we love him, he's not the defensive stopper.
Yeah. Well,
no.
Yeah. Well, it's what good teams in the playoffs are gonna do, right? You know, and I hate to keep referencing the Raptors. You're gonna, in the end of the day, it's still my podcast. I'm gonna keep referencing them. But that's what they did with Kemba Walker, both on the offense and defensive side, right? You're gonna have to pick somebody, and everybody has to bring their A game. And yeah, to your point, maybe Doc has to make a decision about what he's gonna do with his 5-man closing, because Lou Williams, yeah, he can score, but do you need if you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the floor, do you need another scorer?
No,
Yeah, I guess depends on what kind of playoff P you're gonna get, but you know, but still, it's true, right? But to your point, the Lala narrative, I think, yeah, it's been the whole time coming. Everybody wants to see it happen, and yeah, it's gonna do big ratings, but honestly, it'll also be big, talent on the floor. Denver, man, watching Jamal, I think to your point, watching Jamal Murray flourish in that last round against Utah, and even finding his way in this one, holy heck, man. I'm actually kind of happy from in a Team Canada sense, because he just showed everybody in Team Canada, look, I got us, and we're next in the Olympics if we ever make it there.
I know. Him, Shea Gilgeous, we got a pretty good some pretty good guards to go.
Well, even like I'm hoping Dortz plays will get to play. Can you imagine him, Shea, Dortz,
arrested Wiggins?
Yeah, I Wiggins, if you're gonna if this is ever gonna come across your table, come on, dude, just join the fun. Where are you gonna ever find many good players all at once? Go for it, right? And
you would hope. So who do
you? I don't even know if you get playing time. Bring Barrett in.
Oh yeah, but they can. But if you think about that team, and I know we're getting off on a tangent a little bit, but they could almost play five wings, because Barrett's 6'8", 6'7", 6'7" ish, 6'7", long wingspan. Shea Gilgeous is long 6'6", 6'7", long wingspan. Jamal is a big 2 guard. Wiggins, if he decides to Joe, is another. That's 4 right there, right? And you throw in what? Kem Birch to just bruise people? Why not? Kem Birch,
Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly. Yeah, or you put Kelly in there. You play 5 out. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, and he can shoot threes, so he's spreading the floor.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping the Olympics show up one day, but who knows?
So tell me who you guys got then. Clippers. I want you guys to tell me, who do you think?
I'll go. I'll take a look. I'll take a gut first. Gut. I can't bet against Kawhi after what he's shown. As interesting as that narrative would be, because you look at it already, that's another flip narrative where if they don't make it to the conference finals, he won't care. But the Clippers are gonna endure a whole season of Toronto, which lost 2 players, basically showed up 10 times better than you did, right? But
Mm.
We made it just this far. If they're out, we made it
Yeah.
just this far.
yeah, and honestly, they could have. Rod and I were talking about it earlier. They could have easily it could have been gone either way. It was a coin flip. That was the toughest matchup they could have ever faced. But my gut says, with the experience that seeing Kawhi in person for like a year, for the last 2 years, that dude is not gonna let them like lose. He will crush Jamal Murray if he has to, and they're not gonna call fouls like anything, and he's gonna go after it. My heart though would be like is saying, damn. I think to your point, our Canadian hearts, man, Jamal Murray and Jokic taking it to that next level. It's if anybody outside of Denver or everybody inside Denver, that's fitting narrative considering they came up just short, like this short. If you remember last year, it was before that Philly Toronto game. They were a CJ McCollum jump shot away from beating Portland to go to the conference finals. So, but anyway, I'm gonna take Clippers.
Yeah. Just you brought it up. That Portland-Denver game was like the game of the night until the Kawhi shot.
Yeah, it was CJ McCollum crossover at the elbow, bam. It's like game over. It's just like anyway. So Clippers to make it. It's not because of narrative. It's just I've seen like Killer Kawhi, in person, and he's just gonna take 50 shots to make this happen. It's just like seriously. Sorry, Rod. What do you think? Who do you want?
Yeah, no, I gotta agree. I'm with Clippers. They just have the defense. Like they have that lockdown whenever they feel like it, if they need to. I just think they had a comfortable lead going to the second half, and they eased off the pedal of like the past 2-3 games. But they can shut them down if they want to. So you got to say the Clippers.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you guys. I don't see them resting or mismanaging a lead and taking this one. They're probably going to be focused from the beginning. But I do like the X factor of Michael Porter Jr. and like his fearlessness is a big X factor. But if Jokic is a very he's a tough guard, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, like you guys, Clippers.
Yeah. All right. So we'll give Denver. You're definitely possible make it, and if not this year, next year, poo platter. But we'll focus on the Western Conference preview with the La La Land, because I think, honestly, with the questions that I have in mind here, it's just gonna fit that narrative. It's a smidge more. All right. So this is how we're gonna do it. Rather than just ask the opinions, we're just going to hammer through a set of questions for each conference to kind of give a feel for what we think about the preview. We're going to do it award style in honor of the Understudy podcast. We're going to do it award style, and everybody who's listening, I suggest you check out the Understudy podcast. It's out there. It's great stuff. If you can each give me your thoughts, and we can just hammer through it.
All right.
So I want to start though by actually taking a step back for overall. I want to hear your Kawhi OG award for what's been the best thing about these bubble playoffs, just to get us primed. I know I kind of skipped that. I should have started with that, but what's been your holy moly of the NBA bubble playoffs this year so far?
Like a moment
or a series or a player or something.
Well, I'd have to, and I would say everyone would agree that the Raptors Boston series was the highlight of everyone, because no one could figure out how we got as far as we did. Yeah. Never playing to our potential, kind of always scrambling. I think our run in every game coming down to the last second was probably the series of the bubble so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I missed that.
I'm asking questions, and
you missed the last one, which is the Raptors Boston series, exceptional. You got last second shots, double overtimes, flopping, excessive foul calls. Okay, now my bias is showing. But no, great execution, offense, defense. I think from a series perspective, Raptors Raptors Celtics, pretty awesome. I would also throw in one in there, and I know I'm getting a little Canadian bias. I was actually super impressed with Lugat's Dort's defense on Harden. Like, I don't see no 21-year-old like causing Harden that much pain. Like, it was just unheard of. And honestly, I know it's defense, but it was funny because there would be nights where I think there was one night he scored like 6 points because he went 0 for like 10 on threes or something like that. But they would still keep throwing it to him. But because he could play so much ridiculous defense, I was like, that was a super big surprise outside of the Raptors. Everything else, the Raptors Celtics series, 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Rod, anything else? Or
as a Raptors homer, my favorite player, I gotta say it's OG. OG killed me. OG killed me. Just not even that game winner 3, but everything else they was doing, he was taking it to the hole. Like, he was like showing so much offense that you never saw out of him before.
Yeah,
and, he
big
was
rebounds.
Mr. Clutch in that series.
Well, they're definitely going to have to make alter their offense to include him more, I think, going forward. He's going to play a big factor. His defense was like crazy, but he's so calm in the pocket. He was getting like run at like crazy. Just sidestep 3, or just like, sidestep, game winner. Well, not game winner, but just I think that's a great example. OG just blew everybody away, and it's the sky's the limit. I just, unfortunately, I think he ran out of gas, like in Game 7, like a lot of them. After playing 50 odd plus minutes, he just didn't seem to have any legs in that Game 7 either. So
speaking of running out of gas, even Lowry, even though he single-handedly was the heart and soul and carried us through. Whenever we had a lull, it seemed like, because that whole series, it was all about Kyle.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly, I'll bring this up. This will be another one of the awards, so we'll save it for the next one. All right, back to the Western Conference preview. I want to hear your Golden State Warrior Award for most interesting team in the Western Conference final. Is it going to be the Clippers or the Lakers? Is going to be the most interesting out of the two? Who has the most? Okay, let's put it in this way. Who has the most to lose?
I'd say LeBron, because he pretty much single-handedly picked his team almost. It was like in gym class where you're allowed to pick your team, but you're a player. So he's single-handedly, outside of Davis, got to choose everybody. So I feel like it's a failed project. It's on him.
That's valid. Yeah, that's valid player-wise. For me, I think in terms of teams, the Clippers have a hell of a lot to lose if they don't make it to the finals. They gave up so much just to get Paul George, and they're only there for one more year. If they don't get it done,
the short-term experiment, that's for sure.
Short-term experiment. They're going to turn into the Nets, giving up all their picks to the Celtics.
Well, on that note, I think I'm going to have to agree with Rod there. I know LeBron has a crazy like legacy, and that he's always still chasing the ghost. He's always still chasing the ghost. And also being in La La Land, he needs one. Otherwise, he's going to be a failed Laker. Even Jerry West got one. So if you're never going to be a Laker great, and I don't even know if it matters to him, but like he's going to have a tough time continue building an empire in Hollywood if every time he drives down Sunset Boulevard, some Laker fan keeps telling him, it's like, you failed us. Right? But to Rod's point, I think the Clippers it will be a ton to lose here, because not only are they 1 year out from who knows what in terms of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but like they really just like the rest of their team ain't young. Lou Williams is 34, I think. He's same age as Lowry, right? And yeah, he's aging like fine wine, but like he's like iffy. Beverly has been injured a ton again. Marcus Morris is gone out, like he's just a buy-in. I guess well, Shamitz is young. Oh, Zubats is young. But
Zubac is young.
Zubac is young. But then they also They have Pat Patterson, Jermichael Green. Like, yeah, but they're all along in the tooth, right? So like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do, right? Like, to your point, man, you go down the Nets route and it's like, and all of a sudden all your picks go to OKC.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
On the other hand, look at the Lakers. If without LeBron and AD, it's Caruso and Kuzma. That's not a lot to
Yeah.
look forward to.
The
You
Lakers
got
better,
no-
honestly, they better enjoy it, because it's like, yeah, LeBron looks like he's cryogenically freezing himself in the breaks just to make it so he can. I still, my opinion is he's gonna keep going until his son gets drafted, just to see if he can play with Bronny.
That's what he's aiming for.
I think so, right?
You know, at this rate, stats wise, it's not like he's losing a ton. He's led the league in assists at this age. It's crazy on its own.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but to win a chip, that's gonna be interesting.
Well, he can't keep making finals and losing, because that was always the knock. When MJ gets to that final door, he closes it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It'll be interesting. He chose that route, as you said. They both have a lot to lose, and they're both very interesting teams. All right. Next award.
Next award.
The next award is the Nick Nurse Award for who's going to be the better coach or coach team in between the Lakers and the Clippers. And I'm going to preface this before we start with, this is just my personal opinion. As good as Doc Rivers, or as good as everybody talks up Doc Rivers, I just don't see it. I'm like, thinking about the teams he's had, they've had some ultra talented teams since he's been in Boston and the Clippers. So, okay, I don't see all the X's and O schemes, but I don't also see where he gets a reputation like Spoelstra or Brad Stevens or Rick Carlisle. So, starting with that, anyway, not to make him this anti-Nick Nurse. Rod.
Well, that's a tough question, because I don't really think either coach is that great.
No.
No, Vogel, he didn't show me much when he was with Indiana. I didn't see much out of him. And then, always with LeBron teams, you kind of question who's actually the head coach there, right? Whether it's LeBron running the show or Ty Lue or whoever. But if I had to pick who would outcoach the other, oh man, I like the bench of the Clips. I like the bench. They have what? They have Cassell on there. Sam Cassell.
Oh yeah, that's true actually.
They got decent lineup of coaches.
It's not the head coach. You got to look down the bench, right? Like Clippers have Cassell and Ty Lue, and Rex Kalamian, former Raptor.
There you go, former Raptor.
Rex Kalamian, and but the Lakers aren't shabby. Like they have Lionel Hollins in virtual, Jason Kidd, and Jay Kidd, and
Phil Handy, former Raptor.
Phil Handy, another former Raptor. And yeah, so they're not too shabby themselves. But I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
It's tough. I think the hard part is when it comes to the moments when it's on the line, like when there's some crazy stressful playoff moments. I feel like LeBron is the coach on the floor, and he kind of organizes everybody or tells them all to get away. But again, I guess you could argue Kawhi does the same thing, where he gets angry at his guys and is just like, yo, give me the ball. So I guess they might even each other out, but LeBron is like the second coach on the floor the whole time, and I would trust, because he's a bit of everyone says he's a basketball genius, and I have no reason to disagree with that.
I will say the Frank Vogel initially looked, I think the Portland series, even though they only lost one game and they adjusted quickly, it kind of showed that they still didn't figure out that second unit until Rondo came back. Once Rondo came back, suddenly they look like a monster on the second unit because they have somebody who couldn't play make. So that kind of like gave Vogel a little bit of a break, and he did. I'll admit, Vogel, I give him credit for going small, but what else are you going to do? That's what Houston wants you to do. So I'm like, of course you're going to go small. But I think Vogel, to Rod, your point, he kind of slipped. Like he doesn't look as sharp, and the players are kind of just showing, like basically making that team a little bit. Doc, as much as I may say that he hasn't really shown anything, he's like he's been good at managing new personalities. It's a new team, and he's been. It's not like having a LeBron on your team, which is like a super personality that tells you how the game's supposed to go. He's able to coach, and obviously he's done a great job. It's just how do you motivate? I think maybe the problem is motivating these players and thinking that it's just not going to just come. You're just going to walk to the conference finals. That's probably what to your point, Rod, earlier. That's what they probably gave in. They're like, we got this 20-point lead. We got this. So. Yeah, no, it's that'll be an interesting matchup between those two, but it'll just really be on the floor. It'll be a Kawhi and LeBron thing.
Yeah.
All right, next up, the Fred VanVleet Award for who will get hot, and you can only pick one player that was who will get hot to out of nowhere.
East or West?
We'll do the West. Yeah, we'll do the Lalas first.
Ooh, I'd like to be nice and say Paul George, but I don't think so. If anything, I feel like Lou would outscore PG. I think Kawhi. I think Kawhi could tear it up. I think he could tear it up. I think he's been saving some.
Considering how much he's been scoring in these playoffs. He literally defines the term like, all right, playoff mode, and it's just like 30 points per game.
But like we've seen, he's super efficient. He doesn't seem to ever get like overly out of control. It's all controlled. It's all like it's like a surgeon. He doesn't seem to have any excess out of control stuff. And
he's always playing at his speed. Like he can't.
Yeah, he forces them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but in terms of a bench guy going out, like I don't know, maybe a contributor like what's his name? Shannon? What's his first name? Shannon?
Landry. Yeah, Landry Shamet.
I've liked him even last year before he got hurt. I felt like he was a really good 3-point guy and a really good shooter. So he'd be my dark horse for out of nowhere.
Yeah,
5 threes.
I think that's a possibility. He's definitely a possibility. It would be interesting to see the Lakers run around with him, right? So it'd be interesting. Rod, who's your Fred VanVleet?
My Fred VanVleet wow. Man, I'd love to say Danny Green. I'd love to say Danny Green, but he cannot. I don't know about the playoffs. He just shuts down. I'd like to see like a Morris versus Morris. They just flop into each other.
Ooh.
That's a great one.
Both of them get hot from 3. We'll see what
and they'll fight. And they'll fight.
They'll fight each other.
I'm sorry. That would be so funny if they fought each other.
Yeah.
I would just be hilarious one day if they just like decide to switch uniforms just for shits and giggles. And it's like, like, because they're well, obviously they wouldn't know the plays, but it would be funny nonetheless.
I wouldn't be surprised. They probably would have done that in a bubble regular season. They might have tried that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised considering they were in the same hotel too, right? So
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't. You know what? In terms of getting hot, actually, when you said Danny Green for a moment, I was just like, hey, that's a great one, actually.
He could heat up.
That's not good.
But I just, you know what? I love Danny Green, and I believe in him more so when he was on the Raptors. But he's on the Lakers, and I'll still always believe in him. He gave me a signed camera, so I'm not going to
complain. Whoa! Not to step on your awards, but do you have an award coming up that's who we think is going to just tank? And I don't want to call it a Siakam award, but someone that might disappear into the night. Do you have that award coming up?
No, but we'll introduce that now. Although I'm not going to call it that because I respect your opinion, but my opinion is going to be a little bit different on that. So
I don't mind. I I'm not blaming Siakam because in his head he's just doing what he's trying to do. I blame more Nurse to be like, if he's off or he's not contributing for a certain amount of time, then put in another guy. It's not like we don't have another guy named Ibaka or push a guy over and put Thomas in, hit a couple threes. I don't know. I'm more of a plus minus in playoffs. I'm like, you got to bring me stuff, contribute to the win, not even with points, just don't turn it over. Don't turn it over.
I'll give you that. The turnovers were tough. But my thing about that situation, and not to diverge a little bit, but my thinking was, if he's not on the floor, they're gonna Boston's gonna relax a little bit. They were focused their defense so much on him in terms of collapsing at the paint. He put the pressure on them, right? They're always thinking about what they have to do for that. And if they decided, say, oh, he's cold, and put Kemba on him for something like that, they couldn't let up, right? In the end of the day, with even Thomas, it's like they can just go at him defensively, right? And,
defensively Thomas. But what's Ibaka playing 10 minutes in a guy who is time and time again come through in postseason for us?
Yeah. Well, that was I thought that was like him going small because they were shredding him a little bit at the end, like Ibaka. So I don't know.
This is Ibaka, defensive, top defensive team in the NBA for a number of years. So he's not like some slouch in terms of defense. He was all defensive, before he worked on his shot. He was a shot blocker and a defensive guy, center. He plays center.
Yeah, no, he was, but even in that series, he was still really good. I thought at the end they target, and this is just my opinion, I thought they targeted a lot with that Jason Tatum pick and roll, and he just couldn't keep up. It was just like he wasn't fast enough to close out, or he couldn't backtrack a bit.
But I'd rather see a bunch of that to give me that exposed.
Yeah.
More than 4 times in a row.
Yes.
Siakam's handles on his drive, which is the same twisting, out of control, flipping it towards the rim when with his wingspan and his height differential over the guy covering him. That's what we say in basketball. That's a mouse in the house.
Yeah.
You gotta take that kid, and either he fouls you or you're dunking on him.
I don't know, right? I think we were talking about.
Yeah. That's enough of the George Grenade finger roll every time. You got to turn that ball over and slam it.
Yeah, Rod and I were talking about this earlier. I don't know. I think his timing just got thrown for the crappers, and he'll pick it back up.
We all saw his timing off. I'm just saying, pull him. I knew he was off in Game 3. I knew it was off at the first quarter of the Game 7. I don't know. I just feel like it's too important, and I understand him as a decoy, and I do love him. And I saw the tweet by the writers being like, they're showing all the great stuff Siakam does, and they said if you can love him at his best, then you can take him at his worst. And all I said was, well, at least you admitted it was his worst, because the point of Nick Nurse or coaching is to be like, he is at his worst. So let me put in someone that, if Tice is making him look bad, he's off. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And we were all in the same message group, and everyone saw how angry I was getting. And I was like, if he turns it over 3 more times, and then 3 more times, and he's still in the game.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah. Well,
and people said, why are you mad at Siakam? I'm like, I'm not mad at Siakam. I'm mad because maybe he didn't have the tools to have different moves on the base rather than the back down and then his spin and then his reach. He just hopes that his reach is enough after the spin. I just am like, Nick, if he doesn't got it, that's part of the coach. It's the flow. If it's off, if it's throwing guys off, then...
Yeah, well, we know that Nick didn't really, outside of the top 7, he didn't really have many other... He didn't really go to anybody else, right?
Yeah, that's what kind of perplexed me. Because that was their strength all season, was going deep into the bench. And that comeback against Dallas wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the bench.
I would have liked to probably seen more Hollis Jefferson, just to change the pace a little bit.
Yeah, Rodney, he brings
Hollis's energy.
Yeah.
Energy, defense, Hollis brings a ton.
Yeah, just to put the pressure on the other side and force them to expend energy, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fun.
I don't want to keep
Anyways.
not. We'll save that for another pod. Don't worry. We can make retroactive. We can be retroactive another time on that one. All right.
Okay.
The Manu Ginobili Award for who's going to be the ultimate X factor on the LA teams.
On the LA teams,
Yeah. Who could swing the series?
well, this will be part of what I just said too. I would say Rondo, because I feel like he's going to disappear. But I feel like if he has a big game, he's the guy that pushes the Lakers to that next level. Because like Rod's point, he's the guy that when the bench is weak, he kind of solidifies that by creating, and when he's making some shots, then they're a different team.
I will say though, he's not playoff Rondo or TV Rondo or primetime Rondo. He ain't going for no triple double. But for some reason, he can hit a 3-point shot randomly. He never was able to do that. Rod, what do you think? Who do you think could swing the series?
I don't think highly of him, but I think Kyle Kuzma, has the chance of being a difference maker. Because whenever I watch him, he tends to make a big shot. Like he's like the biggest coattail rider. Like if they're flowing, then he's the one that puts the nail in the coffin. So I think he can. He's got the. I don't know. He has the stage presence, I think, is the word.
Yeah, he does have a couple where the coach is like, no, and then he makes it. Okay, a couple of those shots.
Oh, he's like well, I wouldn't say he's like the J.R. Smith, but who's it remind me of? It's like I don't know. Well, basically it is like the J.R. Smith, Deion Waiters. You're like, no. Oh, okay, yeah, let's go.
Swaggy P 3.0.
No, that's it. That's it. He's Swaggy P. Basically, a taller, leaner, younger version of Swaggy P, where he's like, nah, I'm the best person. It's like, no, Kobe, back off. I'm taking the final shot.
I know. And he's like, what are you doing? Oh, okay, you made it.
I was like, okay, you can made it. No, but I would say for me, and this is probably bad that we all think it's an LA person, because outside of LeBron and AD, I don't know what else they're doing. But I actually think if Markieff Morris can play even 75% of what his brother does, they're actually going to have an actual legit, like it will be a ridiculous series, because they play Markieff enough because they have no choice. He's going to be the person either taking one of Kawhi or his brother, because he's going to have to guard his brother. Like Marcus Morris has been shooting like, well, not lights out, but he's been shooting consistently enough, some off games and otherwise, that being the defender on the floor, he's going to have to deal with them. If he can even equal his brother, that changes the series, I think, for the Lakers, because other than that, you're going to need AD to just have like 40, 50 plus game, 40 point games every game. And if he can't do that against Houston, then he's not doing that against the Clippers.
Well, when I see LeBron and AD getting like 60 between them, I'm like, where's the other 50-something points coming from? And they're winning. Yeah. I'm like, they're Houston, getting some contribution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was Houston. I was like, that's Houston and Portland. I'm like, Houston just gave up. They're just like not that they gave up. Like after the second game where they came so close and just I don't know. They ran out of juice, and it was too bad. It was like, it'll be interesting. But it looks like LA is going to need somebody big. All right. This is a big dog award. We got the MJ award for who is going to be the alpha dog in this series.
Am I going first?
Rod, how about you?
Go first? Okay. I'm going to say Kawhi. I got to say Kawhi. He's going to be like he was Jordan-esque last year, like in Game 7, Philly taking over Milwaukee. That was like the closest I think I've seen to someone play like Jordan. Like, I mean, Kobe, was like the replica, but like in terms of actually taking over and doing everything that needs to be done, I would say it was Kawhi. Like I haven't even seen LeBron play that way. Like in terms of just completely. Well, actually, that's not true.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since he's done it.
It's been a little bit.
Kawhi, I think Kawhi will be the big dog.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go with the ageless wonder, LeBron Ramon James. I think he, I've seen glimpses of him, whether it be the chase down blocks or the crazy dunks that I'm like, oh, he's still getting up there. I think he's gonna, like you said earlier, Lakers. This is the spotlight. This is the Lake Show, and I feel like everyone's eyes are gonna be on that bubble, and I think he's gonna show everybody why he's still one of the greatest right now. The King wants to say, "I'm still here." Crowd is still here.
Take a shot at the King, can't miss. Although, who's that referencing right now? Because who's on the throne?
Right? Theoretically, Kawhi is the defending. He still has that ring.
Defending Finals MVP. Hey, you can't go wrong with either. But I'm gonna have to go with Alex Cruz. No, I can't. The one thing I swear, like media, it can build anybody up, and he's great. Okay, don't get me wrong. Young kid. I'm gonna go on a side tangent. He's really aggressive defensively, very good at deflections. But I'm like, dude, just get there. It's like you already got the Fred VanVleet level like recognition for doing what a rookie does, and I'm just like, come on. Anyway, that's besides the point. No, I'll go with the alpha dog in this series. I'm gonna go with Kawhi as well, because as much as Stephen A. Smith likes to say all this stuff that he's heard all this stuff where some player said this, some player said this, I'm gonna still believe it's like one of those 50-50 things. When you joke about something, it's gonna be partially true sometimes, and I'm gonna think that it was partially true that Kawhi, I think back after the Christmas game, was like, it's like, where's LeBron at? He can't defend me. But not in those words. I think that more sounds like a Pat Beverly words. Kawhi was like more like saying, yeah, LeBron can't guard me. It's like game. It's like, it's my game. So yeah, no, I can honestly see him like, he believes it. There's no way in this world he doesn't believe he's the best player in this world. And this is his chance to show it. He's said it. It's not about his accolades. It's about team accolades. And the best way to get the team accolades is to beat the living pants off of the Lakers and LeBron. So that's going to be a heck of like,
but to Jay's point, I don't think we've seen like the best out of the Lakers yet. Like I think like Houston wasn't much of a challenge. Portland, although like their guard play was a bit of a challenge for them. I don't think we've seen like LeBron's probably hasn't put his full effort. Like to Jay's point again. Like we see those moments like those chase down blocks.
Yeah.
I think there's more of that in the tank, and he just hasn't released it yet. So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
I'm hoping so. We forget how long LeBron's been here, and we cannot take his greatness for granted because that 17 years have gone by just like that, right? And honestly,
people were calling Carmelo an old man, and I'm like, who came into the league with Carmelo?
Yeah, like, they're the same. He's the only one left from 2003, and he's just still playing like top 3 level, and it's just incredible. You gotta take, and I'm really hoping, and you see it, like you say, the chase down blocks, the assists are crazy. He even barrels down the lane. This is a good opportunity. If he's been conserving his energy the whole year, this is it, right? Because if I was the Clippers, you go back to watching those Raptors versus Laker games, you take a good hard look how they basically neutralized LeBron and AD, and you'd be like, why can't we do that? There should be no reason the Clippers can't do what the Raptors did to the Lakers.
Well, this is the first year that LeBron had the whole, not only just because of the pandemic, but this is the first year. Last year he wasn't in the postseason, so he's had the biggest break in his career in all those years.
Yeah.
So, and a shortened season on top of that, there's really no excuse. No flying on top of that.
No flying.
So, and friends have said that the number one thing they've ordered into the bubble is wine. So he's happy. He's happy.
They don't even have to talk to the media they only have to talk to the media for 10 minutes. And it's like, see you later. I'm hopping on the bus. Right? It's the greatest thing ever. Like usually they have to spend an hour and like they have to spend 10 minutes. It's like great. Yeah, it's going to be a battle either way, and I'm excited. All right, two more, and then we've been dragging you. We really got into the West, so let's get to the East because my heart is not quite into the East just yet. All right, we're going with the Big Shot Rob Ory Award, or also known as the Steve Kerr Award for what player, if they win, will completely change the narrative around who they are. Because with Robert Ory and Steve Kerr, great players, but let's be honest. If they weren't on those winning teams and making those and made those shots and being put into place to make those shots, would you know them?
Right, that's true.
So
are we looking for a bench guy that could hit big shots, or just
anybody? It's like I would even say, and I would vehemently disagree, but a lot of outside fans said that Lowry changed the narrative around his career with that Game 6 in Golden State. But
the whole series, I've seen players be like, all I'm watching is who is this guy, Kyle? And build a statue now. Everyone in Toronto is like,
I'm like, what are you talking about? This was gonna happen. This is always right. But yeah, like the narrative changed, right? Like from the U.S. media perspective, for sure. Yeah. But like, if they like, especially in this type of series, it doesn't have to be a bench player, honestly. And I'll give you an example because I'll start with mine. I think that if Paul George shows up and the Clippers win, he's gonna change his narrative, because the first couple of years he was in the league, going toe to toe with LeBron, and everybody's like, oh, he's the next thing. And then he basically turned in, like, not he turned, but like he basically got framed as the forever Robin. He could never take it. Like, even though he was sometimes the best player on the team on OKC, couldn't get out of the first round. So if he goes in these conference finals and outplays, like, well, it'll be hard to outplay Kawhi, to be honest. But even if he just matches him toe for toe, and they put up between the two of them, 57 or 60 points. To go toe-to-toe with LeBron and AD, and they make it to the finals, I think his position, his narrative as, playoff P is going to completely change. This is his chance to completely change his opinion of his playoff positioning if he can change it. And even though he is a superstar, he's been hung with that playoff P tag for the last, was it 2016 when they lost to us in the first round? 5 years.
Yeah, he's made a couple mistakes. First, you don't come up with your own nickname. You can't call yourself Playoff P. And especially with a resume like that, that's like saying, you can't do that. That's rule number one. So it became a meme, and it became if this is who you are, then show me the stats and show me not getting kicked out. So I think it's going to take more than just matching the numbers. He's going to have to hit fourth quarter big pressure-filled shots, because he may score 30 in the first three quarters and disappear in the fourth when it counts, and I still will be playoff P, even if they win. I need him to hit big shots. When they double Kawhi and the ball gets swung to him, that's when I need him to – that's the only way he's going to change the narrative for me, because he's been quiet when it counts.
You can't hot potato it to Lou Williams?
Yeah. And Lou will be like, give me the ball. I want to shoot it.
Shoot everything.
I'll take it. That I love that about Lou. But Paul is like, I was just moving the ball because he was a better shot. No, if you want that shot, you're taking that shot because you want that smoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ron, who you got? This guy.
Who I got? Oh, man. I'm going to go back to Danny. He needs to redeem himself, man. If he makes
Danny Green jersey, why are you wearing your Danny Green Raptors jersey?
He needs to redeem himself. He's got to take those big. He's going to be open for three if he's on the floor. I mean, he's going to be on the floor because they need someone big to guard one of playoff P and Kawhi.
He's going to be Kawhi or Danny Green for sure.
Yeah,
He's
going to get an open three.
Yeah,
he needs to hit those.
Yeah. He's going to get his PJ Tucker corner, and he's just got to just put in his corner three.
Just let it rip.
I don't know, but remember, if we have long-term memories when it comes to Green on our squad being cold for a while in the playoff series and being like, come on, Danny, just give us some threes. Just something. So
he did have Game 3, the finals. I'll remember
Yes.
that because I was out there with Rhea freezing our butts off watching in Jurassic Park. So I will in the rain too. So I was
nice.
very happy that he hit like those
Yeah.
4-5 threes or something like that.
Well, that's where we thought, okay, he's over the hump. He's over the,
And then
And
then
it was just back down again.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't knock the guy who gave me an autographed camera. Awesome guy,
Okay.
awesome dude.
Okay.
Some green show.
I hope for the
kidding.
best for him. I like Danny. You know.
It's congratulations, by the way, Mr. Green, if you ever come across this, for getting engaged. All right, last question for the West.
For the West.
And I think we probably answered this, but still, I think it needs to be said in honor of Mr. Kyle Lowry, the Kyle Lowry Award for who's going to will their team to this series victory.
Oh, wow.
Who is going to push their team?
There's only
we kinda
two
answered
choices
the
there, right?
I think the West is self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think because it's either LeBron or Kawhi. Right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because they both have totally different styles of doing it, right? Like I know Kawhi, if you've noticed, I'm sure if you noticed, he's been a lot more vocal on this Clipper team because he didn't have like the Danny Green or the Kyle Lowry to be like, what the heck are you guys doing? Right?
Yeah.
Like Pat Beverly talks a lot, but man, he just talks a lot of smack. But
Well, this is why it almost feels like Kawhi's not as happy because he's angry at his teammates all the time. I know he didn't want to. Was it Powell? No, it's no high fives. Go over there. No. But I feel like this team, he doesn't have the good feel good vibes. Not that you could ever match the Raptors feel good vibes around the team and everyone, but I feel like he's angry.
You know what? To be fair to his team, there's a difference between that Clipper team versus that Raptor team. The Raptor team went through like 5 years of like holy shit, right? Like excuse my language. Like of playoff battles of just like even Pascal, OG, Fred. They were there when we got swept by LeBron in 2018, right? For the second time in a row, right? So they felt that pain, right? So that could basically make you focus and be serious for anything, But I've never seen like you saw some of the stuff where it's just like yelling. It's like what are you doing?
Yeah. He looks
Get over there. Get over to that corner. Don't tell you. It will be a test of wills. One silent and one, the forever LeBron meme.
I know, Mr. Complainer.
But yeah, I LeBron, Kawhi equally, they're gonna will this team. I think LeBron is gonna have to do a little bit more willing, because outside of Danny Green and Rondo, none of his team has been this far.
Nope, it's all new.
Yeah, it's all new. AD.
It's all new.
Yeah, right. So we shall
Battle.
see. All right. Let's move on to the Eastern Conference, as painful as it sounds, because I'm not saying who I want to talk about. No, just kidding. For the Eastern Conference, we have the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat for an excellent and well-played semifinal series. It was definitely excellently played teams. I'm excited though. I'll personally say I'll start off with this. I'm excited for these two teams because they are two excellently coached teams. Okay, they have two excellent coaches who are great at changing up sets in between, and they have two teams that outside of maybe actually the Heat are actually pretty young, but like they're both like teams that are pretty well connected. There's no drama. Like there's no drama. It's not like an LA thing, and it's not just a narrative. They are just trying to win, and it'll be exciting how much they go at each other. So I think it'll be an interesting and excellent series. So we'll start off with our questions so we can save some time because I know we're going a little bit over. Out of those two teams, who is your LeBron Media Award winner for most interesting team. Who do you think's more interesting, Miami or Boston?
Rod, who you got?
What I got? I would say Miami. They got the best player in the series. I mean, I know Tatum's up there and Kemba's up there, but Jimmy Butler, you can't. He's the best player in the series, bar none. The Boston team is kind of. They're not. I mean, they're good, but there's nothing overly exciting about them. But Jimmy, he has that history, with Minnie, and then leaving Philly last year. He's got a little bit of personality. So I think, whoever's covering him is gonna latch on to what Jimmy says and what Jimmy's doing on the court. In terms of media, yeah.
Are we getting a Jimmy Butler brawl this series? I feel
No,
there's
he's
going to be
locked in.
some.
He's locked in, man. He's got his coffee business running.
Are we going to get a push? How about a two-handed push? Is there going to be a push? I feel like
maybe him and Smart. Maybe something will happen.
I think Smart is
Smart will
testy.
push himself. Smart will just push himself. He'll just
Smart's
be
like Beverly, though. He wants to start up some stuff. I could see him always trying to push us. I feel like he wanted Kyle, he wanted OG, he wanted somebody to snap.
Nah, that wrong team. Wrong team. He should have got fined a little bit more. I respect that the dude Smart, but man, it was just it's almost worth it for that $5,000 flop if you cause a team to use their timeout.
It's true. He knows how to push it, but
Yeah, but yeah, no, Miami is a good pick. Honestly, if you want to talk about narratives, nobody outside of a couple of analysts said that Miami would take it to the conference finals. Hey, I'm gonna own it. I thought they're too young, right? Too new. They're relying on three rookie or second year players, which two out of the three or one other Kendrick has disappeared, right? But Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, holy crap, right? That's some legit stuff, and I got to give them some respect. And I think they're definitely a more interesting team considering how new they are. Boston, I can't believe it, but this is Tatum and Brown's third year in the conference final. Third year. So I'm this is not new or surprising, right? They just have they're just young. So it's the more interesting team to me is Miami because selfishly, whatever they do, if those rumors of Giannis are true between Miami and Toronto, damn, man, every series is an advertisement. Every series is an advertisement. So, Jay?
Miami, of course. I feel like he would like that weather. I agree with Miami's more interesting. I feel like Boston, everyone knows whether it be Jalen Smart, all the guys on that squad.
Yeah.
They're more known. Kemba has been around. They're all good guys, especially since they got rid of Kyrie. But I feel like they're a really good team, and but Miami's the more interesting one because they're all question marks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know what they're gonna bring. You don't know who's gonna bring what, and it'll be interesting to see. I think they're gonna do a job. All right, next award. We got our Nick Nurse Award for. I just gotta name the coaches because these guys are just freaking awesome. Eric Spoelstra, shout out to the Filipino blood, right? And Brad Stevens, who for some strange reason, I think I'm older. I'm man, I am so unaccomplished. Holy crap. I don't think he's even in his 40s. I think he's 38. Anyway, either way, holy mackerel.
Now I got to see how old he is.
Yeah, look that up. But out of the two coaches, this is going to be a tough one. Who do you think is going to who do you think is going to prevail, or who do you think will show the most variation and adaptability?
Eric Spoelstra, guaranteed. I don't know because Boston had a hard time. Not to go back to the Raps, but Boston had a time adjusting, and we had nothing. We had no team flow for all the games. It was pure heart, pure grit. All Kyle, OG saving us, I just feel like he didn't adjust enough. But Although in the final game he did. He's like, let's just take out Kyle and see who can step up, and no one did, kind of. So I'm giving the edge to Eric.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Eric. Yeah, no, it's the way they shut down Giannis and the rest of the Bucks. Just showed a lot out of what Spoelstra can do on defense. And I think they'll give Boston a run because their offense, Miami's offense, is not just better than the Raptors. They got finishers, they got drivers. They can do much more with what the weapons that Miami has versus what Toronto had against Boston.
It's the tough part to swallow, and I once again I'm gonna bring it back. Man, we matched up so much better with Miami. I was just like, I was anxious for that series. I'm like, that series would have brought out everything. Like Nick Nurse already showed what he was gonna do. Like he was gonna put OG on Bam and be like, yeah, what are you gonna do about that? Right? Yeah. Like what are you gonna do? He was already playing mind games already before the playoffs even started, right? And I'm like, oh man, that would have been an awesome series. And to your point, yeah, I think Spoelstra already showed it with the Milwaukee series. Adapting so quickly to not only just the wall, but like the personnel that he has to make that, because he got Crowder and Iguodala halfway through the season, and he was able to adjust his defenses accordingly while not taking away minutes from Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero, which is like, holy shit, right? Like you still were able to play those rooks in the second years, right? I think Spoelstra is he's gonna show his remind everybody, like he did it after LeBron left by still bringing that Dwayne Wade team to the second round, but like he's definitely cemented himself as one of the best coaches in the NBA in the last 20 years. All right, we're gonna combine these two since we basically figured out they're the same award. It's the Fred VanVleet Award and Manu Ginobili Award for who will light it up and be the X factor for this series. And this one, I think outside the Clipper and Lakers one, this one has a lot more variety. I think anything is possible for this one. So,
oh yeah,
Jay.
I was torn thinking about this ahead between Duncan Robinson, because he's from Michigan, go blue.
Yes.
But I'm going to have to go with Tyler Hero because he's just not only a pure shooter, but I've seen the series when he's not afraid to take it in, and he's got nice touch in the in-between game. And I was listening to another pod, and Andre Iguodala said one of the guys work ethic-wise and who he was most impressed with was Tyler. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to go with him as a breakout kind of Van Fleet-ish performance.
It's good selection. Yeah, he's shown his chops for playoffs. Rod?
Yeah, I don't want to keep going to Miami because it feels like we're just dumping on Boston because of
Reason's still better.
Reason's still better. Don't worry, I'll mix it up. I promise.
In terms of breakout, yeah, I mean, this is Tyler's series to step up. I mean, we already know what Kemba can do. We know what Brown and Tatum can do, and those are the main guys. We know what Smart can do. And Thies is not going to be some sort of breakout star, at least from the starting five. Tyler's the guy. If not him, I mean, there's Goran, but that's like really dark horse. But he's been there before Goran, and he can always, have one of those games where he can, make a difference.
Don't worry, I'm gonna go buck the trend a little bit. Mine will be, my X factor is actually a combo X factor because they're gonna impact each other, and we don't know what's gonna happen in the series because of it. On one hand, you got Gordon Hayward coming back from his ankle injury.
Is he going to be back?
Yeah, he's coming back. He's playing.
Is he really?
Yeah, they said he's going to play. Yep.
Well, I didn't know that. That might change my answer.
But he's only one half because who knows how many minutes he actually has in him. Okay, but the other X factor is, I hate to say it, as much as he probably boiled my blood a little bit, Marcus Smart. Because if Gordon Hayward comes back and Marcus Smart isn't as playing as much, that is a huge what if to me. Because if you're Brad Stevens and you saw what he just did to the Raptors, how could you not play him the 38 plus minutes? There's no reason Marcus Smart should not be playing those minutes because he's showing he's going to be clutch and he just can guard 1 to 5, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need more, like the Raptors series showed. If you get locked down, you need more firepower. Like he stopped playing like Wanamaker and even like Time Lord, what's his name? I forgot their name. I already purged their names from my memory. The Boston bench.
Enter.
Well, Cantor definitely not. He just got blown to, he just got like exposed hard and nice guy and everything, but that's just the wrong series. Oh man.
Yeah,
Anyway,
both Williams, like Robert Williams.
Yeah,
Right.
the two Williamses. There's the two
Yeah.
Williamses, right? Like at the end, Stevens didn't play them at all either. Like, and he was running only top 6 basically. So he's gonna need Hayward to just force Miami to change things up. So I think my X factor is gonna be Marcus Hayward or Gordon Smart.
Gordon Smart.
But I think they're gonna be a big thing. All right. This one is also interesting. This ain't no obvious one. Who is your MJ for the MJ award for Alpha Dog for this series? Who is going to be the Alpha Dog for this series?
It's got to be Bucket. It's got to be
Jimmy Bucket.
He had Game 7 Philly locked down until Kawhi made that shot. Like that was going to be his breakout game. And then Kawhi hit that shot, and everyone forgot about Jimmy. But,
It's true.
Yeah, no, for me it's Jimmy. Yeah,
that's true. Now I think about it, it's not even a bake-off. There's nobody else. Like,
I mean Tatum has the shot, but I don't think he's not the alpha dog on that team either. Right? They go as far as Kemba goes.
I would almost put Kemba as more of the assertive leader than Tatum. As much as Tatum is probably the most talented with the highest potential on Boston, Kemba's really kind of their guy, whereas Jimmy is clearly Miami's. He sets the tone for everybody, and I love what he's doing.
Yeah, you know what? I would have said Tatum could have been up there, but now that you talk about it, it's true, right? Like when we get to the Kalo Award, force of will is just like not there yet. He's 22, obviously, right? But maybe it's just not in his personality. He's like Kawhi, right? He just like he's gonna try to let his game do the talking for him. But when you get to the conference finals, somebody's gonna have to will that, like basically say, "Nah, I'm just taking the ball and I'm just gonna like get a foul or score on you." And I'm honestly shocked how much Jimmy is scoring so well. Like, okay, the Indiana series, whatever, but like the Milwaukee series, because his jump shot was shot. Like he couldn't shoot anything like when they started the bubble. And then all of a sudden he's just like, nah, I'm just going to win. And
I feel like I still remember the way he would, I don't know, he's pretty pure. I still remember the golden moments in Chicago when he was a bucket, man, all the time.
Yeah, well, no, now he's like added the whole free throw game. So, yeah, I think he's going, like he's been able to get to the line. Like he got the line 60 something times in like a 5-game series or something like that. I'm like, okay. Just like Tatum went to the line something like 60 odd times in a 7-game series. That's just a little bit odd. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything.
He's pulling a Harden.
Yeah, no, it's I think I agree with you guys. Jimmy is going to definitely be a statement maker in that series, and I think it's his. Is this his first it's his first conference final since. No, they never did. They play Miami in the conference finals? I don't think they did. They only. Yeah, I don't know. It's good for him, man. Good for him. Got out of that funny Philly situation, which would have drove him nuts. All right. The second to last award, who is the Robert Horry, Steve Kerr Award for they're going to change their perspective or narrative on their career? This is hard because Boston, they're so young. Oh, no, actually, no.
Miami's young.
Actually, no, this is easy. Kemba Walker. he's the he's like the reverse Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
He, like if they make it to the finals in his first year, right? Like all that 9 years of like whatever.
Charlotte scoring.
Yeah, like he went from like Connecticut, and then it's
Yeah.
like Charlotte,
Yeah.
and then it's like Boston, and on top of that, it's like it's not like he just came in there, right? He came in following a very, very like fractured situation, right, where he's replacing the exact same position of the person who everybody was saying, no, that was the issue, right? So it's like you're basically he had a bit of pressure to prove them wrong. Like obviously he's a nice guy himself, so that helped.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to change. His career narrative will probably change. It's like not just getting out of the first round, because there was no way in heck you shouldn't have been able to get out of the first round with that loaded team. But making it to the finals, that's another level.
He's got a lot of teammates. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a level of teammates, but
Yeah.
that's my pick. But
it'll cement the argument that he was a good player on the bad team, right? It was Charlotte's fault. It wasn't his. They weren't so bad. But yeah, no, that's a good answer. Kemba's good.
what do you think, Jay?
I'm torn between either Jimmy Buckets, because his reputation has been for the longest time a hard guy to deal with, but his team loves him, and more they're letting everyone know that this guy is a guy you want to play with. And I feel like if he gets to the finals and they do a real push, and he'll have to carry a lot, that'll be huge for him. Or it'll be the other way, where you go from a guy that no one knows, like Bam, no one knows how really great this kid is. And when people get to see how much he does on both ends and how athletic and how he'll be a guy that'll take that next jump to like crazy star status with a name like Bam. Like, there's no getting that wrong. But I feel like, so it'll be either one of those two. I feel like will either switch the narrative or become like, a well-known star.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go with that. Like Bam, actually, in thinking, not to try to think ahead, whether we think Miami or Celtics are going to take it, but if Bam gets any one of those Lakers teams, he's going to be a huge problem. Like for the Lakers, like Anthony Davis is going to have to deal 7 games with that. That's going to be a big annoyance. And then there's nobody on the Clippers who can deal with them. So it'll be very interesting. Yeah. He could have a run. He could have his Pascal run basically from last year, right? No, excellent choice. All right, the last one, and you know what? I think we already answered this question because it's the Kayla Award, but they're close friends already, and they live and breathe off each other, like in similar styles, right? So who's the Kayla Award for? Who's going to will their team to the series victory? I'll go. Honestly, if it wasn't for Butler, I would have said Smart too, because he just puts in just enough like oomph.
Yeah,
he's got many Kayla vibes. Smart does.
Yeah, it's true though with Marcus Smart. As much as I really hated him our series, he's one of those guys that when he's on your team, you love him. Yeah, because he does everything, and it's a lot of intangibles. He may not do it don't get me wrong, the first 5 games, he was hitting threes that I had no idea he could hit. Yeah. And he was a defensive stopper, and like he would hit the odd shot, but he was on fire for a lot of the first series that I was watching him. So I give him a lot of credit, but it's gotta be Jimmy.
Yeah, it's got to be Jimmy for this Eastern Conference Finals. They live and breathe by him. I'll admit, Goran is pretty impressive. He's got that Slovenian fire and experience. Like you see it, like driving their team as well. Like him and Jimmy are like perfect match made. Like because
same aggression.
Yeah, same aggression and same like they'll do whatever it takes, like try to trip OG and stuff like that. Not just kidding. No, but I love Gordon from like the Phoenix days, right? I remember when he torched San Antonio, he's all like him and Jimmy together. It's just perfect fit. And Jimmy, to your point, his will is gonna bring them in to the end. It's basically Boston's gonna have to deal with another like Kyle Lowry essentially on the floor, who's just not gonna like quit. Pretty big. Well, that's it from a conference finals perspective. To sum it up, it's going to be a crazy conference finals. I think one side of the house, we already think it's something that's been preordained, and maybe a Canadian is going to throw a wrench into that, but still, I think it's been preordained. People have been hoping and expecting that, and I'm sure the NBA is, considering that they need the ratings as much as possible. And on the other side, it's just a battle of systems and cultures, right? And it's going to be, and it's totally unexpected in a way at times too. So it's going to be an exciting conference final. So I ask you, gentlemen, as I thank you for joining us on the Continental, who is your pick to make the NBA Finals? One shot, no second guessing yourself. You can use all 5 teams, by the way. You can use all 5 teams. Rod, who do you think is going to make the NBA Finals?
So the 2 teams,
Yeah.
Clippers and the Heat. Yeah. And I think Miami's got the weapons to beat Boston. They got the defense. They show they have the defense. And Clippers, I think they'll lock it down when they need to. Maybe they got a second guess on LeBron. You never know. You never know with LeBron. I'm going with Clippers though. Clippers and the Heat.
All right. Nice. Joe?
Obviously, it's Miami, Denver. No. It's going to be Miami and the Lakers.
Oh.
As much as I know Kawhi, I also know Paul George. So I say LeBron, he is a stronger Robin. He is a stronger than Kawhi. And I feel like that'll be the difference, whereas they don't have an answer for Davis. And, I feel like LeBron won't let this he won't let this opportunity. It's the most rested he's ever been. And this is the most in the tank he'll ever have for they've had 2 easy series, even more so than whoever they're facing. So if there's a time now for LeBron to hold up another trophy, this is it.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'll go with Miami and the Clippers as well, just because the NBA doesn't need another Lakers Celtics series. No, thank you. No, thank you. That's not nice. And maybe my bias is showing with the Celtics and the Clippers. Maybe a little bit. No, you know what? Like it's a coin toss, because I could have said I honestly, out of the West, I'm gonna go with the Clippers just because I think Kawhi is just gonna will his way to that. But in the East, it's a coin toss. Those teams are gonna go at it so hard, and I gotta give props to Tatum. Like, those are some ridiculous numbers. He's got some ridiculous shots in his arsenal, and he's gonna be one of those players. It's gonna be like he's gonna get his no matter what. You gotta shut down everybody else, and that's how you beat them, right? So. But I like Miami. I like Miami's coaching. I like their system. I like how hard they play. They're essentially like Boston's just gonna have to go through another 7 games of heck like they went through with us. I think they were running out of steam, right? Like they barely they barely made 100 points. All right, and so let's bring it on. It's going to be a crazy conference finals. And
I got a question. If we're considering the Giannis sweepstakes.
Oh.
Is it better for us if Miami makes the finals or they don't?
I think
it's better for us if they don't, personally. Because if they're close, and he sees more of them, like to Adam's point, it's more of an ad for them, and to see how and he could see how the role players are, and it's easier to spot that he has two dead-eye shooters in Hero and Robinson, and he's got like a lot of guys to work with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think, and this is no sources, obviously. Who the heck in the Toronto Raptors organization is going to talk to me?
You got Wojo? You got Wojo on the line?
Yeah. No, it's yeah, no, yeah, like Masai lives down the street. No, he doesn't. No, but honestly, I think Masai and Masai and Bobby, the president and GM of the Raptors, I think they know already what he's gonna do. I think they have a good idea. There is no reason. I would be shocked if they didn't find a way to have Masai didn't find a way to have a personal conversation while they were in the bubble. 3 months. You don't think that he would have been like, hey, Giannis, you want to just go grab a coffee or something like that, right? Like they know each other, right? And he'll get his feel for what he has, and we'll find out, I think, this summer, not from whether Giannis signs the max. It's what is Masai going to do with the roster, right? Yeah. And who he's going to sign. I think that will tell us where he's headed. As much as he's want to hoard the cap space, the pandemic situation is going to crazy reduce the cap, or the cap, and he's only going to have so much wiggle room anyway, and to save 30-something million. So we'll know. Well,
we might lose Gasol and Ibaka, really.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah. Well, like
that would be the numbers right there.
Yeah. Well, like that's why I'm saying it'll be interesting to see what happens with our signings. Obviously, he could just sign them and it would be assets, because that's the other thing Miami could do. It has to offer too, is they have a bunch of assets that they would trade. But I don't know how they don't really have a contract that, like, enough contract signed that they could do an easy sign and trade, right? Because they only have buckets. Bam is still on rookie. Goran is up this year for renewal, and a bunch of rookies. Yeah, they could package the rookies, but they need a big contract to be able to do a sign and trade this year. They could try to walk them into the cap space like normal, like they've done with like in the past, but it'll be hard because the cap's gonna be tight. Right. So
yeah, they can't. It's hard to give up the squad that you're selling him on.
Yeah, you can't
give up too much.
Yeah. It's the New York. It's the Carmelo. Yeah. It's the Carmelo situation. You can't jeopardize your whole system, right? And with the Raptors.
And to win him over, you're like, this is a supporting cast. Oh wait, supporting cast we traded to get you here.
Yeah. Actually, the dark horse in all this is Golden State. Because they got the Wiggins contract and the number 2 pick.
Yeah, I know.
I hate
to say that, man. Like, the Golden State is.
And he's playing with Steph and Clay and Draymond.
But in all truth aside, I don't think he's going anywhere. All this stuff about
even with the Instagram, is it true he stopped following all the teammates and all the team, or has he never really?
You can't tell me that's not a number one agent tactic. A number one agent tactic to make sure the owners talk to you, right? And commit to what you want in the future. I'm just going to unfollow you. I don't even have to use my agent to call you. I'm just going to unfollow you on social media, and I'll let the ESPN machine do everything for me. And wait for
Milwaukee can pay him the most, but now it's a matter of those millions, whether it means more to him to stay with millions or
I think but I also think he's a loyal guy, right? Like they trusted in him, they built him up, and they just got to change their team, right? Like the big issue we saw is their system is whack. You can't expect the system to go and then you face up against the machine of a defense and expect to just blow by them. That's not going to happen, because a team like Toronto, Miami, Boston, they've watched your same team use the same system for 164 games. There's no way that you should expect that they can't figure it out, especially after they gave up Brogdon too, right?
Yeah, like, that was on them. How did they not get more supporting, other than Middleton?
Well, Middleton, this is where drove me mad. You watch Middleton in that game 4, and he went bonkers. How do you not build a system that can't leverage that more than just being a release valve, right? Like he's
No,
just
it's true.
like
Although, why wasn't that release valve more assertive early on?
well, that's the system, right? Like this is why I'm like, so I don't know if you remember, like in that game 4 where everybody's like, hey, how can 4-year-old Kyle Lowry play 54 minutes, a double overtime game, and then in the next game, and after playing 48 minutes or almost 46 minutes, and then 40 minutes, and then you got Giannis, I need a blow after 6 minutes. Because he's too busy handling the ball and playing defense, like 100% of the time up and down the court.
But that's a bit on Giannis too. If he doesn't know how to play without giving 90% of his, and I'm all for energy, but you don't spend. It's like a boxer who spends all his punches and energy and punches himself out. Half of that is just knowing how to
pace yourself,
manage that game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Giannis's zest for the game and giving 200% and wanting to dunk on everybody, but that isn't always the smartest. Someone's just got to also tell him.
Well, that's where and this is where the coach comes in. I can't imagine what Nick Nurse would come up with that. That would just be like, oh.
And stronger sporting cast means less pressure on him and longer career longevity, less wear and tear. Maybe give a small contract to one of his brothers, and we're in business.
They tried. He got LA went after him first, right? So yeah. I don't know, Rod. It's a good one. It's I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see what Giannis does, but I think I feel like Masai and Bobby kind of know. They don't. You don't like, they repped by going down there for 3 months, and that was for the team, 100% sure. But why wouldn't you want 3 months where you can, oh, hey, Giannis, what you doing in this hallway? It's like, oh, hey, free agent number 2, what are you doing down here, right?
Masai has his number too. It's not like they can't just call him.
He knows his parents.
No, but remember the new rules stipulate they can check your phones now, right? Like that whole like after that whole Kawhi thing.
It still seems like a bit of that seems like more of a federal private. Like, how can your boss check your stuff?
They signed the.
I guess they got to sign a waiver.
Yeah, they signed the waiver, right? Like, hey, no, if you don't want to tamper, it's for everybody, right? So, but
meanwhile, tampering you can't stop.
You can't stop, but that's exactly why Bobby and Masai went down to Florida together. Yeah. They're like, I'm not going to be on the level 2 bubble. I'm going to be right down there, level 1 bubble for 3 months, and I'm going to talk to everybody. But anyway, no, it's been a crazy NBA season, and we'll see what happens in the finals. I really appreciate you guys spending your evening here at the Continental. As guests of the Continental, I can assure you, you'll not be bothered because there's no paparazzi who hang out here. Our viewers are minimal at the moment, but that's okay because we're having fun. We're talking to each other. We're hearing each other out, and I love having you as guests. The Continental loves having you as guests and hearing what you think. And I really hope we can have you again on the Continental. So, thank you. Thank you very much. And as always, it's a pleasure to serve you at the Continental. If you're listening to this, please subscribe, listen, comment. Check out Joe is the New Black, the Understudy Podcast, The Drop, XXL Canada. Go find Rod. He's like the Filipino Shaq, but a lot skinnier. And we'll be back again with these awesome family members. Thank you, everybody. Have a great one.